a service of CNC Worldwide.
The Daily is a service of CNC News, and it's brought to you by the Greece Chamber of Commerce, providing more than 800 members with business services since 1984. And if you hear something like a low-flying jet in the background, that's the high winds we were warned about by the National Weather Service. They arrived as predicted. There have been some power outages, nothing major so far. Both RG&E and NYSEG had pre-positioned repair crews, trucks, and materials ready to go before the windstorms came in. There are about 7,300 outages as of midday Friday, the majority in Monroe County. A falling tree branch tore down power lines to an abandoned car dealership in Ontario County early Friday morning, about 2:20 in the morning. Shorting wires set fire to the building in the town of Bristol. Firefighters couldn't put hoses on it because the wires were still sparking. They let it burn out, then demolished the building. The peak wind gust we've heard of so far is 60 miles per hour, and as this is being written, they're gusting to 53 at the Rochester airport. Halloween turned violent at two places in Rochester. Police say a 19-year-old man was shot outside a house on Meg Street about 2 Friday morning. A group of uninvited guests tried to crash a house party. When told they were not welcome, the newcomers began throwing punches, and one pulled out a gun and started shooting at the guests. The injured man was hit. He's in Strong Hospital in stable condition. Police are looking for a dark-colored Chevy Malibu seen leaving the area. Gunfire also broke out at Obsession Bar on Chili Avenue, where an east versus west side rap competition was taking place. Police say two groups got into a verbal dispute. It turned physical after security threw them out of the place. The victims were both ejected contestants. They got into a fight outside the bar. Shots were fired by two other people. The two young men were hit. Both are in stable condition at Strong. Police are looking for two suspects who are also men in their 20s. People came pouring out of the bar at the sound of the gunfire, and police said they faced a chaotic scene but restored order and dispersed the crowd without anyone else being hurt. They are studying surveillance camera footage of the incident as part of their ongoing investigation. Greece police executed a search warrant Thursday morning at the Greece Ridge Fire Department relating to the 1978 Holiday Inn fire on West Ridge Road. Captain Patrick Phelan couldn't say much except that it was related to that 35-year-old case.
We're here in relation to the Holiday Inn murders in 1978.
Is there a particular thing that you're searching for that you're able to tell us about?
No, I can only tell you that we have a search warrant to search for evidence. We're searching for evidence. And I can't disclose the nature of the evidence.
Later in the day, the department issued a statement saying evidence was collected. The exact nature of the evidence will not be disclosed at this time. No arrests were made. No arrests are anticipated in the near future. The Holiday Inn fire was set in a stairwell at that Ridge Road motel early on November 26, 1978. Some 200 guests, many of them from Canada, were staying there. 10 people were killed and 34 injured. Bud Phillips, now the Greece Ridge fire chief, was a lieutenant back then. He spotted the fire while driving down Ridge Road, reported it, and he was first on the scene. He was questioned 35 years ago as a person of interest, as were others. The Ontario County Sheriff says it was a 911 call from a concerned mother that led to the arrest of a Victor daycare worker this week. Sheriff Phil Povereau provided more details about the case. He said it involved a 6-year-old girl who was allegedly made to touch the suspect, Sean Smith's, private parts. Smith was arrested on a first-degree sexual abuse charge after the child was interviewed with the help of child care advocates. The sheriff said his investigators believe the 6-year-old is the only victim, but they are asking anyone who may have information about others to call 911. The Jack and Jill Child Care Center in Victor, where Smith worked for 6 years, remains open. The state is reviewing it. Rochester police made a third arrest in connection with a shooting on Chili Avenue that injured an 11-year-old boy. They charged 19-year-old Michael McMurdy of Rochester with criminal possession of a weapon, with assault, and with reckless endangerment. Police say McMurdy and another man traded gunfire. The other man was injured, and the 11-year-old boy was a block and a half away. He was hit by a stray bullet. Police say a school resource officer identified McMurdy from a photo circulated around the area. An 18-year-old Rochester man is charged with robbery and grand larceny in the early morning holdup of a Tim Hortons on Mount Hope Avenue. Police said Christopher Williams, Jr. was tracked down by a K-9 unit after holding a knife to a cafe employee's throat and demanding money. 2 Alice Street residents have been charged with felony animal cruelty for being involved in cockfighting. The Humane Society of Greater Rochester says its law enforcement officers and Rochester police arrested Martin Diaz and Maria Janelle. Officers found 10 roosters with body modifications consistent with fighting birds, plus evidence of an organized game bird fighting operation. The roosters have been taken to Lollipop Farm. Diaz and Janelle are being held in the Monroe County Jail. Links to these and other stories can be found to the left of the player window on your CNC News pages. And if you're viewing us there, the bottom of the page has links you can use to post stories or ideas directly to us. So the next podcast is As It Happens, and the updates are as necessary. I'm Bud Lowell, CNC News.